I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, August the 31st, brought to you in part by Ozark and Heart of America Beefmaster breeders. The Beefmaster female has stayed true to her original purpose to help ranchers in tough environments improve performance, survivability, and longevity. Beefmaster Breeders United and Ozark and Heart of America Beefmaster Marketing Group invite you to their fall roundup sale, which will be November the 13th in Springfield, Missouri. For more information, go to beefmasters.org or ohoabeefmaster.com. Defying expectations. Now, if you guys will go back with me to May, that was when our iron was probably the hottest, maybe not then, soon after, but our irons are starting to cool a little bit because the market's come up and people are just getting tired of hearing about all these anti-competitive things that are going on in your beef business and the big disparity between what cattle are bringing and what dressed beef prices are. But back in May, you remember that Senator Rounds, him and Senator Smith, come out together and they put a letter together. It was a cattle crisis letter there, and they sent it to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. If you remember that letter, and I thought it was great at the time. It was one of the greatest things that I've heard that ties into what we're going through right now. But in that letter of Mike Rounds that they sent up there to the Attorney General, it said that the complexion of the way things are going through all these packer monopoly, the anti-competitive practices that are going on, and basically your AMAs, your alternative marketing agreements, just the complexion of the cattle business right now is defying expectations of market fundamentals. That's what your packers do. Now say that again and think about it. Defying expectations of market fundamentals. Now I know that hit a nerve because your NAMI, North American Meat Institute, is basically a cover for your packer mob. They came out with a letter the very next day after that letter. They come out with a press release, I should say, about that letter that Senator Rounds sent in there with Smith. And NAMI, North American Meat Institute, said there were several things that was a myth, including that packers have it set up where they are defying expectations of market fundamentals. They also said that packers don't have a monopoly on the industry and a bunch of other crazy things like that. They said that they were all myths. And whenever they sent that press release out, it had a check off on the bottom of it, meaning that it was paid for and put together with your checkoff dollars. So if that makes you feel really good, I don't understand why the National Cattlemen's Beef Association has to work so hard for your packers when you have outfits like your North American Meat Institute. They're the ones that's supposed to do the dirty work. They're the ones that basically get, these USDA guys that get in these high positions. They know they have a cushy job waiting for them at North American Meat Institute where they really don't have to do anything. They just have their name up there as a former USDA authority. And I tell you what, it's just about as crooked as anything goes. And if you look back at where where your mob started out and where all that crooked stuff started happening, it mostly started out in your meat packing areas in your big cities. That's where it started in Chicago. That's where it started in New York City. And there was more crooked stuff going on back in those days with your meat packers, and it's just continued. It's just on a bigger scale right now. But I tell you what, if last week is not a perfect indication of how the way the packers have it set up now, where they defy expectations of market fundamentals. We had a very short show list last week. We were coming in there. Your smaller regional packers were scrambling for cattle. They were paying $1.30. even before the week started. Over the weekend, they had paid $1.30. Everything was looking that way. Your big majors just put their foot in the sand and said, no, we're not going to give it to you. We won't give it to you, and we don't need you. We've got all of our corporate feeding partners there, and they'll supply us with plenty of cattle. We'll choke you off. We won't buy any of your cattle. We'll wait till they get even bigger because we really don't want them until you get them overfed anyway. Then we're going to discount you on your 4s and 5s and make even more money on your higher percentage of high choice and prime. But that's the way we are right now. If it doesn't make you nauseous, it should. But that is such a perfect description of what this whole cattle marketing is right now, and the way the Packers have it set up is defying expectations of market fundamentals. Let's talk about your board on Monday. August live cattle futures started the week out down, the opposite of where they started last week, so maybe they'll go up from here because they went down from there last week. But August live cattle started the week out $1.75 lower. Now it's going to end today. We're done with your August live cattle, but if that doesn't show you how little faith your longs have in your contracts, of course there's no play in it at all. But August live cattle futures ended the day, and they'll end trading here today at 120.25. Whenever we're getting 123 in the south, and that's at least $4 or $5 lower, less than what you're getting in the north. But October was down 80 cents at 128.32. Our problem is the people, the interests that go long, which is mostly managed money, that are on the long side, because face it, all your cattle people are on the short side. You don't know very many cattle people that are buying or taking long positions in your cattle futures. No, they've got that on the cash side, so they don't need to do that over there. But the people that are propping these futures up on the long side, they're losing your cattleman's faith to ever gain any market position. We've been sitting here at 130 all the way up till spring, like in April, well over 140, and that's what we've been looking at. We can't achieve any of it because your Packers continue to defy expectations of market fundamentals. Go on your back months of your live cattle futures, down 17 to down 65 cents. Feeder cattle, September feeder cattle, as we lost August there back last week, and it ended up settling right with your CME cash feeder cattle index, just over 159 like it always does. But September feeder cattle, which we're going to be in here tomorrow, down 60 cents, but at 164.05. Now 164 for an 800-pound steer, you might get that on a perfect string of them, a perfect load that's legal but plenty big enough, that's green, empty, thin condition, and burning up with quality, maybe up in South Dakota or in the sand hills of Nebraska. You might buy or get a load of 800 pounders at 164.05. But as an average of the nation, as an average up through your middle 12 states, that's pretty handsome out there, guys. Then you look at October, just the next month, it was up 52 cents at 168.95 because your corn was down some. But they've got these feeder cattle out there pretty handsome out there, guys. And if you guys have calves that you're going to be marketing this fall, and they're going to be getting some weight to them, you don't have to necessarily match up with what the board calls for on there. Go out there and get you an LRP policy or something. Lock in that price. You don't necessarily have to have a load of them. You can talk to some of these people like Livestock Risk Services that handle that. You can get a hold of them. They can set you up where you can lock in a price. You don't necessarily have to have square loads of them out there, guys. They can set you up with a policy that will give you some protection, because I think we both know that I don't know that we're going to be seeing $1.70 for 800-pound steers right when all the fat calves are coming. I just don't see how that can happen, because we just these prices that we see on the futures are just a mirage, and when we get up there to them, they just evaporate. We don't ever get to ever have the fruition of them. But your back months on your feeder cattle, up 10 cents to up $1.75. But your weighted average on last week's negotiated fed cattle trade, 48,200 head. Wow, isn't that quite a deal? Moved 48,200 head in your 5-area feeding region. That's 30,000 less than last week, 35,000 less than the same week a year ago. We just have no negotiated trade to speak of. We got to force their hand. We have to get a minimum mandate on negotiated trade, or we have lost this industry. You guys might as well be contract hog growers, just growing cattle instead. Because if we don't get it done here right now, and our irons are cooling as we speak, we've lost this industry. But live sales of steers and heifers last week from 121 to 130. We did see about 1,200 head sell 130 or better last week. That 1,200 head sounds pretty good, but that's on the whole 48,200 head. But on the southern plains, it was a buck higher at 123. Now we saw 127 and 8 for the most part in the northern plains, running at a big premium. But your weighted average on live steers last week, 125.74. That was up just 27 cents a hundred compared to the previous week, so it didn't gain a whole lot. Your dress sales did gain a lot. Last week's dress steers and heifers sold from $2 to $2.08. Your weighted average on dress steers was $204.45, and that was up $3.30. So we have gained a bunch there, but it seems like they're not so worried about what your dress market is. They just are not going to give the 130. They absolutely will not give it. Nationwide, we sold 57,100 head negotiated and 265,400 head formula. There's our problem, guys. That's why we are always defied expectations of market fundamentals, because nobody is negotiating for higher prices. They're just waiting to sell off the averages. Of your nationwide negotiated sales of 57,100, about 42% of those were for the 2 to 4 week delivery. And that's probably about as many as your majors bought, because a lot of those cattle were bought by regionals. Your majors never really did get active in your negotiated market, but they're wanting those cattle, 2 to 4 weeks out. That way they've always got cattle to pull from as our numbers get shorter of market ready cattle. And we're getting to the time where we ought to be making hay, guys. And I don't know about you, but it seems like we're kind of in a down market already. We've started off the week on a lower board here. We completely failed to gain any ground on a live basis last week. And guys just, they give up the fight pretty quick. But on Monday, which was not reported by USDA or anybody else, but through my sources that are very, very reliable, said that string of family feeders there in Nebraska sold their cattle at 130 delivered. They don't have to go too far, so it's not going to cost them a lot to deliver those cattle. But that was 25 cents a hundred higher than last week. Last week it was 129.75. So, if you go by that, we're just looking at basically a steady market. Box beef cutout values were lower, and that's the thing. Your packers want to keep all that margin, and they're starting to lose ground on their box beef cutout values because they've just forced the issue on food service and even your grocery market so much that they're resisting. They're not buying. We're not moving a lot of product right now. And your food service people are looking at them shutting down things and making people wear a mask. And if you make people wear a mask to go out and eat, they're not going to go out and eat. They'll invite all their friends to come over on their back deck and they'll cook a hot dog out there rather than going to a nice steakhouse and spending more money doing that. Box beef cutout values on Monday afternoon, $342.78 down $256. Selects $312.55 down $297. What else we want to talk about? I mentioned livestock risk services earlier, and if you guys want to get one of those plans that's supplemented by the government, They can give you some strike prices where you can lock in prices for your calves when you sell them, if that's what you want to do. And like I said, don't have to be straight up perfect loads. They can work with you on what you need to do and tell you how much it's going to cost, and you don't have to worry about margin calls and all that other stuff there. But look at the information here on this graphic I have on the screen. You can pause that, back it up, and look at it. But Livestock Risk Services, they are some specialists to help you with some of your risk management options right there. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction. Late in the day on Monday, sitting at 157.41, down 45 cents. Mostly down 45 cents because we lost a week ago Monday. A week ago Monday, man, did we see some high feeder cattle prices. And it's been pretty good ever since then, but losing those big prices from last Monday caused your index there on your RTI to drop a little bit. Some of your big high volume sales on Monday: Oklahoma National Stockyards in Oklahoma City, 7,500 head there. Pretty good run for them, but they're going to be closed next Monday for Labor Day. So that's one reason they had a little bit bigger run this week. Feeders unevenly steady. Steer calves $5 to $8 higher. Heifer calves $1 to $2 lower at Oklahoma City. Joplin Regional Stockyards, 4,900 head there. They're also going to be closed next Monday on the 6th due to Labor Day. But market there steady to $4 higher. Full advance on the steers, but a pretty good market there. Don't forget, here today, Joplin at 1 o'clock is going to be having primetime livestock video. And it's going to be on a Tuesday, which is normally on a Thursday, but I would suspect they're all going to go somewhere for the long Labor Day weekend. They don't get a chance to get away very often, so I would imagine that's why they moved it up, but I don't know that for sure. And then Wednesday, on the 1st, they're going to have a special cow and bull sale there at Joplin, starting at 4:30 after they sell all the weigh-ups. Some of your big quotes around the circuit on Monday. How about the Baum brothers there at Elgin Livestock Sales, Elgin, Nebraska? Had the King Brothers cattle in there. Sell 4 loads of them, 915 pound steers at $157. Big time quote. How about Callaway Livestock Center in Kingdom City, Missouri? My friend Jack Harrison there, he has a hell of a good sale right there in central Missouri. It's just east of Columbia, Missouri, right on the interstate. Nice location there, but get some big prices at times too. How about 74 head, 684 pound fancy wean steer calves at $175. And then Aberdeen Livestock Sales had the best quote that I saw anywhere on Monday. It's your Zach Tran top quote for the day out of Aberdeen, South Dakota. 53 head, 844 pound steers, bring $168.75. And that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.